Interiospective is a show that I did in the Bona Thompson Memorial Center back in 2009 based on a series of paintings that I started in 2008 and continue to grow upon to this very day. Interiospective was held in the Bona Thompson Memorial Center and separated into two rooms, where the room you're looking at now I labeled as Room 1, where I intended to have an installation that I wanted to use to show what the idea of Interiospective was like to the visitor who had never seen the series before. I wanted to have an installation in Room 1 where I was also going to have a band perform underneath the Kendo Duel Triptych. And for the installation, it just wasn't really the kind of room to do this, even though we tried. The idea that I had involved this large frame that we're looking at now, painted on a bed sheet. And I wanted to have sort of like another room, a small installation of a mock-up of a room on the other side of the frame where people would peer in and it would look like a room made completely out of black and brass objects. So I had all these objects gathered up, and I wanted to have the floor black, the walls black, and have these strips of brass and gold kind of trace and outline things around the room and then lead up to the edges of the frame. That way people would look in and they'd see something that looks like the rest of the paintings and just sort of understand what the theme of the exhibition was meant to be. And they didn't strictly stay with just black and gold objects. Looking here at the dinner bench, you can see that I used other colors such as violet, white, cream, and other colors that just sort of blend together into sort of a milky, sort of neutral colors. And the exhibition has more than just paintings. You can see some other kinds of sculpture around here. You saw the Anubis jar just now, and just a little bit further down you're going to see a piece of book art. And book art is something that is fairly new to the art scene, where it is a book that is meant to be perceived like a sculpture, like art sculpture. And the thing that's supposed to be very new and innovative about it is that you're actually able to touch the art and actually interact with it. And this is something that I mildly grow upon, but it has become something else that I will talk about in future videos of what I've learned from this art that you're looking at right now. This is my alchemist stone, the first one that I made. And I've actually made another one, and I actually have a series of them that I plan to also have together. And when it looks like a pyramid, when it's all folded up, it has sort of this shape that you can stack multiples of itself onto each other. Other painting consists of an abstract like this one, where you actually see that I have more than just Interiospective to show. But here you start to see the difference between how an Interiospective can be very simple or very complex. The one we're looking at now is a very popular one that always seems to get people's interest, and this one's a more of a complicated style of Interiospective. And looking at this, you see that it is a piano pool table that is actually got some texture to it, where the wood actually bows out from the wall, and the little lines that you see, the little strings for the piano, is actually burned into the wood. And then here you start to see a series that I call the primordials of the Interiospectives, and these are simply they're very minimalist. And they were an exploration of metallic lines and the backgrounds that you put them on. And if you look at the names, you might have been wondering what's the deal with these names, and I didn't want to name them something as simple as Blue Room. I actually named these after constellations, both currently and formerly used. And with that, I will end my tour of Room 1 here. Thanks for listening.